we're doing a pet segment. Lots of people love their pets dearly, but don't always know why they do the things they do. But imagine being able to actually understand why your dog or cat is feeling a certain way. Donna Velardi is an animal communicator and the owner of Zodiapet. She's joined by Ted Eberts, who we just met at the start of the show, along with his four-legged friend Stanley, who's singing a little song for us. Donna, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about what a pet communicator is all about.
What an animal communicator does is you hook up with your pet's thoughts and emotions and see what's going on. You check with them to ask them, how they're feeling. A lot of times I get called in for behavioral issues to find out why they act the way they do, and to find out about a pet's past if they want to give that up. And if you've ever had a psychic reading yourself, it's done pretty much the same way.
All right, and what can we say about Stanley here? We know he's a very active dog.
Yes, Stanley is actually a very old soul. He actually has a lot of wisdom. It's interesting because he indicates that his life began when he went to live with Ted. So he really doesn't go back too much to his past. Stanley, he's the type of dog that really needs a lot of stimulation, just physical stimulation and emotional stimulation, so he would do best with agility. He also has a bit of a stubborn streak in him.
Is that why he's barking so much?
Well, he's just overwhelmed by the energy here and just seeing what's going on. He likes to be the center of attention. He likes praise. He's type of dog that has a lot of dignity. If Ted ever scolded him in public, he would be a little embarrassed and mortified by that. Oh. So, but Ted really has to stay on Stan as far as being the alpha in the household.
Sure,
because he does have a stubborn streak in him.
Now, Donna, let me ask you, how are you getting your information? Are you actually contacting the animal? How does it all come together?
Okay, the way communication works with pets is through images, through visualization, through meditation. All words have energy, so you could ask a question either mentally or you could actually say the words, and you're actually visualizing what you're saying and what you're trying to get them to answer. And then through meditation, whatever images or visions that I get from them pops into my head and I interpret it. So it's seeing life from the animal's perspective with a human interpretation. And that's why you always have a discussion with the caregiver to see how it fits in.
Now, what advice do you have for Ted on Stanley here?
Okay, Ted definitely has to set boundaries for Stanley. He's a very active dog. Like I said, he has a lot of wisdom. Sometimes he thinks he knows best. So Ted has to really take the lead role in the household. And again, a lot of stimulation. And when you're with Stan, you have to be with him. Not just physically be with him, but emotionally be with him.
Okay. Now, what about pets that have passed on? We're going to put a picture up on the screen here. We lost our dog, Sam. We had to put him down last week. It was a really sad day, but he was an old dog. But that's Sam, and I guess I want to ask you, what's going on with my buddy at this point?
Okay, the first thing that I usually ask a pet is how old they are, and I do get the number 12. And with Sam is when you put him down, he knows that you had a lot of guilt, some anxiety about putting him down, obviously a lot of sadness and grief. However, he thanks you for doing the right thing. Oh, one thing animals do is they're about the quality of life and not about the quantity. And even though you would have wanted Sam around for a very long time, he understands the circle of life, and he understands that it was his time, and now he doesn't have pain, he doesn't have any of the physical effects.
Okay. And you were right, Sam was 12 years old, so he lived a good life. Let me ask you, Donna, how does our emotional state affect pets? Oh,
tremendously. Animals are really in tune to us. They really in tune to our emotional state. When we have anxiety, they have anxiety, and they just concentrate on us. So our emotional state greatly affects them. One of the things I always tell people is be careful what you have on the TV, because when you're watching the news, if something terrible has happened, they actually pick up on the anchor's tone of voice. They pick up on their emotional states, and they can react to that.
And I want to ask you about your talents. Does it come in handy locating lost animals?
Yes, it does. I've been called, throughout the country to locate lost pets, and primarily dogs and cats. And what you do is, again, you have to determine whether or not the animal is missing or lost. And there really is a big difference. Missing is they know where they are and they know how to get home.
Okay. They just don't want to get home there yet.
Right, they're on an adventure.
Okay.
And then the lost pets is an animal that has taken off and may have gone on a little excursion and doesn't quite know how to get back home. And so what I do with that is I try to contact the pet, get an image. Get an image from them as far as landmarks and getting, where they can be and going with the caregiver and giving them clues as to where to start looking.
Very good. All right, we're out of time. Thank you so much for being here. And Ted, Stanley, both of you, good luck with the dog.
Thank you very much.
All right, coming up next, Jen Presserado shows you how to put a twist on a classic side dish when Tyler returns. Don't go anywhere.